Hey everyone, happy Valentine's Day, Nat. Or happy high expectations Saturday, maybe I should say. It's just depends on how much social media slash doom scrolling you've done this morning.
Right? The one day a year where the algorithm tells you if you're not being slow motion kissed against a sunset, you're doing love wrong.
Oh my God, I know. It's ridiculous. The mind brain just gets hijacked like immediately. You scroll a couple of scrolls and suddenly your normal everyday Monday through Thursday relationship, it needs an entire PR team in order to keep up.
Well, and the wild part about all of it is half of the couples that you're seeing on social media fought in the car before they took that photo or that video or
Right?
whatever they're doing.
Oh my God, I know. And our minds don't know that. We just absorb all this imagery. And I know we've talked a lot about not keeping up with the Jones and doing things ourselves, but it builds a story in our mind, right? If this is real love, it would so look it would be easier. And it's not. That's not real love. And we've been saying something lately that is just going to make it's uncomfortable, but love is not a comfort strategy. It's just not.
Yeah, well, because when love becomes your emotional weighted blanket or your therapist or your escape hatch, you stop being responsible for your own nervous system. And that's kind of a body issue.
Right?
And
Oh,
who is talking with us this morning?
this is my dog. Hi. Would you like to
She
say
is.
hi to everybody? She would. Hold, please. Hello. Oh, there's the top of her little head. Say hello.
Good morning, Turi. Why are you so loud?
Right? You got lots to say?
Apparently, she wants to talk about love.
She wants to talk about love. Talk about love. I
Talk
know.
about love.
Right?
Yeah.
Crazy dog. Well, she's running away for a moment, so maybe we'll get lucky here for a little break. But
That's funny.
but talking about, the ease of all this and how we're making people really kind of uncomfortable. You'd mentioned that it's
The body issue,
body.
yeah.
Yes, but it's spirit, right? It's a spirit issue too, because we weren't incarnated, we weren't created, however you want to look at it, whatever your higher being, higher self, whatever creationism looks like for you, your spirit was incarnated to evolve, right?
Yeah, say that louder because it's,
Right? Your
yeah.
relationship only exists to keep you comfortable. If that's how you're feeling about it, eventually you're gonna feel suffocated, because comfort is not the same thing as alignment, right? I mean, it's like a settling type thing, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's normalize something because people aren't failing at love right now. It's like a kind of like an overload, and the body is being a little overstimulated, or the mind is flooded, the heart is tender, and spirit is pushing for growth, and it's just a lot.
It's a whole lot. I mean, the 2026 energy too is just, it's not a soft focus romance era. It's just not. It's restructuring right now, right? Your body's fried from the world. I mean, our brains are overloaded from the world. And this, uh, your home and unconsciously your partner, it's like our job descriptions have become for each other. Please regulate me. Please inspire me, please inspire, please validate me, which is a ridiculous task of anybody.
Well, right, and they're just gonna stand there and like, I just want dinner.
Right? It's like, I didn't know that that was going to have to be done tonight. But, here's the edgy part about this whole thing. Sometimes we call this, we think we're needing connection. It's like, oh, I just need that connection right now. And what's actually needed is just some nervous system regulation. And that's not a romantic thing, it's a biological thing.
And this is where the mind gets a little sneaky because it says if they loved me, they would fix this feeling. And you and I have talked about this a lot, but that's outsourcing.
Right? There's that outsourcing word again. Ah, I love it. I love it.
Yep.
But it's not a partnership this way. It's projection. It's, and if your spirit, the highest part of you, is watching this like, oh, good, another growth opportunity, right? Because you're basically feeding off somebody else. And I know, like, with your topic of the week this last week was all around how we take control of our own energy, but I digress.
Yeah. So, but let's say the thing, because we're talking about Valentine's Day, we're talking about love, we're talking about all the
Yes,
things.
yes.
Why does this feel like work?
Because it is.
Uh,
It's not that lovely work that Instagram talks about. It's integration work. And your mind is questioning your conditioning. Your heart is doing that risk vulnerability check. Your body is regulating before you react to anything. And your spirit, well, you're honoring a soul contract.
oh, so let's talk about soul contracts
Oh,
because I really think that people forget you didn't just fall into this relationship. Like on some level, spiritually, you agreed.
right.
Yeah.
And not because it would be easy. It's because relationships, partnerships, no matter how they look, and no matter if this is a romantic partner, a friendship partner, whatever it is for the Galentines, Gaiatines, I don't know, what do we call it? Whatever that looks like for you, it's it's a stretch, right? This is to stretch us as human beings.
Well, and to be fair, because lots of people are going to be like, okay, then why do any of us get in relationships if everything is going to be a challenge? But the stretch is not the same thing as being unsafe. Let's be clear. Like safety is non-negotiable, but comfort is kind of optional. But like you don't get into relationships thinking, I'm going to learn something from this. It's just kind
Right.
of what you've agreed to.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and the thing is, spirit chooses catalyst, not cushions. But when you
Ugh,
really think about that, go
put
ahead.
that on a mug. Sorry.
Right? Oh God. But but truly, it's the conflict that hits. So instead of asking, why aren't you making me happy? You're asking instead, what belief in my mind is being challenged? What wounded my heart is being touched by this? What signal in my body what's my body sensing from this? Or what lesson is spirit trying to surface? Because it changes everything in how we look at that relationship.
That's so hard though, because you have to be so aware of, like, situationally aware to step back and maturely ask yourself those kind of things. I mean, that's just tough work.
It is. I agree. I think it's very tough work, and I think I think it's worth a little conversation here that it's a challenge. There is no relationship out there that doesn't come with work.
Yeah, so true.
Even
So
sister
true.
bonds, right? I mean, it's work with everything we do. I mean,
Yeah, folks, we're not this lovely every day to each
uh,
other.
yeah, but it's just it's humans. It's human nature, and we expect other people to read minds, or we expect all these different things, and that's not the thing with it. And this weekend is really an extra oof, right? Because the timing of this, the timing of Valentine's Day, the timing of this episode around all this, because the sky, it's screaming at us too. Not subtle. It is not about random relationship intensity. Like February 13th through the 15th. I'm just looking at yesterday, Friday the 13th, which I love Friday the 13th. Love them. Um, but through the 15th, and you could really go on through like the 17th when we have our solar eclipse coming up. But we have a balsamic moon in Capricorn yesterday. This Saturn entered Aries. We have heavy Aquarius activations coming up. The Sun and Uranus are square. I mean, that's not Hallmark astrology.
Well, and the balsamic moon is the emotional closing phase of a cycle. Like that's release energy, old emotional patterns and old stories and old expectation. And it's in Capricorn. So instead of dramatic breakdowns, it shows us kind of that quiet realism that Capricorn always carries.
Right. And then Saturn's entering Aries. So huge moments for us because Saturn shifts from that passive spirituality and into personal responsibility as we move into Aries because we're coming from that Pisces, right, which is more passive, into Aries, which is go. And it says you're responsible for your own growth now, not your partner, not the circumstances, you.
And that's a tough lesson. And that Capricorn moon opposite Jupiter retrograde in Cancer that night, that's emotional exaggeration. One person wants safety, one person wants expansion. They can feel like, why are we so far apart right now? But really, it's just where is their misalignment?
Yes. Oh, and that's so true. And today, Valentine's Day, we've got that moon is squaring Chiron in Aries, which was happening mid-morning, and we're recording just a little bit later in the day. And Chiron's our wounded healer, right? So that's
Mhm.
a wound activation. So if you feel triggered on Valentine's Day, it's not failure. That's just the wound activation. That old I'm not enough narrative is surfacing. It's rejection sensitivity, performance pressure. It's Valentine's Day, but it's emotionally honest more so today than it is that glossy Insta glow.
Instaglow, I love that.
Right?
Well,
Insta
and well, and by late tonight, the moon moves into Aquarius and sextiles Saturn in Aries, which means that the emotional tone is really going to shift from the romantic fantasy to emotional maturity. So it's less prove your love to me and more, again, is this alignment? Are we aligned?
Yeah. It's more questions. And then February 15th, so as we move into Sunday, we have our moon conjuncting Pluto in Aquarius in the morning. And that's a big old psychological truth bomb, right? The mass drop, patterns are going to get exposed. And if you've been telling yourself that convenient story about your relationship, Pluto doesn't leave a lot of room for it, doesn't tolerate it.
Right? And then the sun squaring Uranus at the end of that window. It's like a disruption, sudden realizations, unexpected conversations, liberation impulses, spirit shaking the cage. So, and if this weekend is feeling a little bit revealing or a little bit exposing, it's really not random. It's kind of revolutionary, but hang in there with yourself too and feel that love and like don't look for all of these things, but understand that it's the energy underneath all of it.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's not like we're sitting here saying this is your exact horoscope because the energy of those stars, it's like when you feel a shift, and I felt a shift dramatically between yesterday and today for me. And I think a lot of folks will, especially in the coming week as we start having a lot more of these really big monumental shifts happening. And yeah, you're right. It's that evolutionary boom, Aries energy, go beginning of things fresh, right? And it's not random.
and you mentioned that we had the topic of the week, which we're kind of wrapping up around. Um, but we have been sold this idea that if it's right, it feels effortless. And that was really around the topic of the week. Like, we should make all of our choices by things that feel right for us. And rarely is growth going to feel effortless.
God, right? Growth is not effortless. It's just
No.
not. Ask a teenage kid going through with growth pains if it's effortless. Ask, as people are going through school, whether it's college, whether it's high school, whatever, that trade schools, if it's effortless. People applying for a job, is it effortless? I mean, that's growth, right? And you can have, excuse me, this chemistry in your relationship, but you can still avoid growth. You can have romance, but you can still bypass that evolution of your relationship. But if your spirit signed up for expansion, you're not going to be allowed to stay asleep in your relationship, in love.
Well, and I think that's kind of the explanation of all of at the bottom line is yes, you can have an easy path. And yes, everything can feel kind of blessed, but you'll also feel stale and stagnant. And oftentimes when I'm doing readings or um, people are constantly asking, well, so what's next? What do I do next? And it's just the reminder, and I don't say this in real time because I don't, I hadn't thought of it like this, but it's the reminder that you have to make the tough decisions. If you really want to grow, if you really want to do things, you have to step into that really uncomfortable area and do the tough stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is so good because it's true, right? You can't just run on unconscious patterns. Your mind, you have to rewire yourself. Your heart's got to be open to those changes. Your body should be in a place where it's stabilized, right? I mean, we're bringing in the soul pillars because that's what we do. And let your spirit lead. This relationship, yes, you met. And if this is kismet and this really feels like it, then it takes work. And that's mature love. It's not dramatic love. It's not fantasy, roll around in the sand on a beach without getting sand in your butt crack love. It's integrated love. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to. I'm like, you see him rolling on the beach, and all I can think is the sand is going to take forever to get out of her
Right.
hair.
Like totally, that is not okay.
No, no, I get being in the ocean and it's really nice. It's beautiful. I love the ocean. But rolling around in the sand, no.
Right.
Uh-uh.
Yeah,
Sorry.
not at all.
So, okay, honest check-in. Where have you felt friction this week?
Um, so, you know, and I don't have a partner. So it's not really like well, there's
But you have children in the house, and
yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's energies.
Yeah, there is. And there's always going to be those conversations and when your kids want to tell you all about the things that are happening and um they don't want your opinion, but they want you to kind of nod along with them.
Hmm.
And sometimes my kids are older. So for the ease of things, I have oftentimes just been like, yeah, I hear you. And that sounds like a great idea. That's the easy stuff. That's the showing up and, just glossing it over to get through the conversation and let them feel good about themselves. The tough stuff is when you push back and you have those not great conversation. They don't feel great, but it's the right thing. And it grows both of you in a different way. Like if that makes sense. Like that's such a weird
No,
example.
it's perfect because it's honest communication, and that's ultimately what it boils down to, right? Um, yeah, it's a clean breakdown of it because that's what we have to be doing. Is if you're not being honest with yourself about all of those things, then you're going to feel it in all these different ways. I mean, my body completely felt it this week. I had some shifts in my schedule, you know what I'm talking about, and it completely jacked me up. The feeling of the loss of control, and control we've talked about a gazillion times is an illusion anyway in and of itself in my mind, and I need to let go and remind myself of that. But it's um or even the perceived control, and I took it out on my body, on my poor puppies were hearing it because my partner's not here to hear about it right now. Otherwise, he'd have gotten the brunt of, oh no, I take that back. I even sent him a nasty text about something else because I was mad. So, and it had nothing to do with him. And I followed up with an apology text not long after, don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
that's all triggered in my body being overstimulated in these moments and how I'm reacting to that versus just being honest with myself, right? And saying with like all that friction that I feel is caused or that is sitting there and lingering, I'm not honoring the space my body needs to just kind of absorb some of that and walk it out, right?
Yeah, and we're dropping a lot of maturity on this podcast because like
Yeah.
stepping back and asking those questions as we talked about earlier, but now you're talking about naming it. And I know it really changes the direction once you step back and you're like, I'm a little out of control. I am feeling overstimulated. This isn't me, but it changes the perspective and it just, it's a total drop of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, truly, the more when I would tell the truth, not just to somebody else necessarily, but to myself. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, you know me, I journal pretty much every day. I mean, both of us do. And I wrote it all down, you know? Where am I feeling it? Where's the control? Because that's honoring me. So that's honoring my own truth, right? And so I had to speak the truth to myself so that I could engage with others again, quite honestly.
So this is a really good opportunity to pass on some of these questions. So like if Valentine's Day is feeling a little heavy, ask yourself some of these questions before you spiral, because it really can change the narrative of how you're approaching your loved ones, other people, strangers, however that works. Um, but let's walk it through the four soul pillars. So I really liked what you said. What story am I telling myself? That really is related to the mind.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah, and then for your heart, what do I actually need in this moment? Because if you could slow yourself down and think about the things that you need right now, that reconnects with your heart.
Yeah. And you have to remind yourself too, it's a need versus want.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that there is that need versus want. Emotion is a chemical reaction in our body. And so if you sit and calm and wait for 90 seconds, do you still need it? And so asking yourself some of those tricky questions, but what do you actually need is so good.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's definitely the heart question. So moving into your body, am I regulated or reactive? And
Mhm.
it sounds like you were super reactive this week.
Very. And you know, I am huge about being proactive versus reactive. I would way rather take action on something and not have to react to a situation later. And I think that's what really threw me on this whole thing is I'm like, whoa, settle down. Settle down. You just, yeah.
Right. Well, and it's really hard to not reach for the outcome that you want. To like stop yourself and say, "Okay, I'm going to settle down in this moment." And you're not like outsourcing to this is what I want the outcome to be. This is why this like not interpreting everything that's happening to you, just stopping for a second.
Yes,
And so that brings about the spirit question, which would be, what is this teaching me?
which is really good. Because I mean, like we talked about with what I was going, my example in this week. It's a learning lesson, right? Because it's always a lesson. We've talked about that from the beginning of this podcast, of this episode. This, our lives are a lesson in action. Saturn is a teacher, period. Like mic drop, principal in the room. What are you going to learn from this? Saturn boomed into Aries yesterday evening. Of course it did. So,
Right.
yeah. So, of course, I'm all reflective and writing it all out in detail this morning, going, okay, yeah, thank you, Spirit. Thank you for pointing out what. Yeah, which is what did I need to know about me in that moment? What did I need to know about my man coming home who will be here at the end, in a few hours? What did I need to think about before reacting? I mean, that was huge. It's a huge lesson for me, but hopefully
Yeah.
helpful for others.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully it helps, this podcast kind of helps people slow down and take a look at like things that might be uncomfortable, and it's okay to be uncomfortable.
It is. It totally is. And love is not, it's not a comfort strategy. You can't look at that as something where I'm going to go rely on somebody else or to lift me up or to do those things. Yes, we have our friendships and yes, we want to be empowered by our tribe. There's a difference though between using that as the only tool in your toolbox
Yeah.
and it's very much a spiritual training ground for us right now. It's where your patterns surface, it's where your growth is accelerating, it's where your soul contracts get activated.
And if it feels like work sometimes, it really doesn't mean that that's wrong. It just means that it's real because that work is what defines our life.
Right? Happy growth day, everybody. Woohoo!
Right?
Don't forget to check out the soul pillars. So
Perfect.
immersivespirit.com/soul pillars. We'll make sure the link is in the detail. If you have not joined our community yet, you get those first 30 days free. Totally encourage you to come and join us and enjoy the free workshops that we offer in our community so that you can be a part of these conversations because we are really inclusive in how we do all of this. And we want people to be a part. We want to share and we want to answer questions and ask questions, right? We're all there to learn from each other.
Yeah, let's grow together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
All right. I think we hit on everything. Poor little Valentine's Day.
Well, I know. And go love your love and love your family and love your connections. Just take a step back and
Just
give it
be
a mental
honest and
break.
love yourself first,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
Well, I'm Stephanie
I'm Natalie.
from Immersive Spirit, and I think we're done. So
We'll see you next week.